Okay, so I want to begin by making sure that we are setting the expectations for this webinar series. So the targeted audiences are business users or power users, or maybe you're working as a Microsoft 365 admin and architect, or maybe you're a developer, or you're working as an IT admin or solution architect. So no matter whatever background you come from, we have something to offer you in this webinar series, right? So the end goal is to make sure that you get yourself familiarized with Copilot for Microsoft 365, or rather Microsoft 365 Copilot. You understand the various deployment methods, the customizations, how to administer this thing, and if at all you want to sort of extend, right? How do you go about developing that? And it just doesn't end there. We also want to talk about the privacy, security, and compliance related things as well. So the key takeaways is we want to make sure that you walk out of this entire webinar series and each and every single session having a good understanding about what is Copilot for Microsoft 365, how to use it, deploy it, or customize it. Maybe you're trying to do this for your organization or maybe for your customers. No matter wherever you're trying to deploy it, we want to make sure that you're taking the learnings from here and you're able to use this in your day-to-day work, right? And our expectations is to make sure that you have a detailed understanding of Microsoft 365 services, because the sole purpose of this entire webinar series is to talk about Microsoft 365 Copilot. We do not intend to talk about Microsoft 365 in itself. That's something that we expect that you already know. And we do not plan to cover the core nitty-gritties of Microsoft 365. Yeah. And how do we plan to run this webinar series? So we did, if at all you're somebody who has been actively following this webinar series, or if at all you had the chance to go through the session recordings, the first few sessions were more around introductory stuff, right? And then we are gradually moving on to some core topics, and that's how we plan to keep run this entire webinar series. Now the goal is about to have 15 to 18 sessions, but then time will decide, and also this thing keeps growing. A lot of new features and capabilities are being introduced by Microsoft. So, as new things keep coming, we'll try to do more sessions, or, try to plan the sessions accordingly. And all the sessions that we do will be announced in the Microsoft 365 Power Platform and Cloud Security India meetup group. So if you're somebody who's not part of this meetup group, please do make sure that you register and you become a member so that you do not miss out on any of the announcements. And all these sessions will be recorded and it will be published in the YouTube channel, and the URL can be found there. And each session, we plan to do it for about 60 minutes, wherein the first 50 minutes will be dedicated to the session in itself. And we'll be spending about 5 to 10 minutes on the Q&A. But just in case, if at all you have any questions, feel free to put it in the chat, and we can, towards the end of the session, we can, start answering them. All right, now the agenda for today's session, as you might have all seen the topic, right? So today we want to talk about licensing and adoption for Microsoft 365 Copilot, right? The very reason that we want to speak about this topic is because there is a lot of confusion going around this very specific topic, right? People want to understand, what does the licensing for Microsoft 365 Copilot look like? Is it part of any SKU, or is it add-on, or how do I go about this, right? How should I purchase it? What if I'm an organization who has multiple set of licenses, right? Then how should I plan it? So we want to make sure that we are talking in detail about licensing in this very session, and we want to make sure that we're giving you some clarity there. And we also want to talk about what are the licensing options to secure and govern Microsoft 365 Copilot, right? Because today with AI, one thing is it, of course, improves your productivity, and there is a lot said and done about any AI solution, right? But you want to make sure that how can you secure and govern the data in your tenant, right? Because all these results that are going to come out are results coming from your own repositories, right? It could be documents, it could be confidential information, right? There is a lot which AI is going to bring out. So how do you make sure that you're able to control the usage of AI, right? And you're also able to secure things in such a way that only the right people have the right access. Somebody who doesn't have access to an information shouldn't be seeing it, right? How do you control, and what is the licensing for that? And we also want to talk about adoption and readiness, because deploying the service or product is one thing, but how do you make sure that your users are adopting it? Or else it's of no use, right? You spend so much of money on the service or purchasing the solution, and 1 year from now, if nobody has used it, that's just a big damage, right? So how do you make sure that users are getting to adopt it, and how do you prepare them in this journey, right? That's something that we want to talk, and also usage reports, because that's the report that you want to go after to understand how people are making use of it. Are they using it, every day, or are they using it like maybe once in a week, or what's really happening with Microsoft 365 Copilot, right? You want to pull those reports, maybe in your leadership, or somebody is got to be interested about the usage of Microsoft 365 Copilot, right? Because they've spent money on this. So we'll be talking about the usage reports also. And finally, we'll get into the Q&A. Now, this is for the past few weeks, or rather for the past few months, right? We've spent quite some time talking about how to prepare your organization for Microsoft 365 Copilot, in which we spoke about the governance, where we heavily focused on the SharePoint Advanced Management, SAM. And then we also spoke about data security and compliance and privacy for Microsoft 365 Copilot. We focused on how to use the various tools and services which Microsoft Purview offers, right? So if you're someone who hasn't had an opportunity to look into those sessions, please take some time, go back and look into those recordings, because only then whatever I'm talking would make a lot more sense. Because today we want to completely focus just on licensing and adoption, right? But the usage, or how to deploy all these things, has already been discussed in the previous sessions. That's what I'm trying to say. So please make sure that you listen to those recordings. And today's session will be heavily focusing only on the licensing for these things and also the adoption. All right, so let's begin by talking about understanding the Microsoft 365 Copilot base licensing plans. When I say base licensing plans, I want to talk about what is that thing which gives you Microsoft 365 Copilot, right? I'm just talking about Microsoft 365 Copilot as a product alone, right? So the first and foremost thing which I want you all to understand is Microsoft 365 Copilot is not part of any SKU, right? You could be using Microsoft 365 E5, which is the highest SKU on the enterprise plans, or maybe you're using Microsoft 365, E3, or maybe you're using a business plan. No matter whatever plan you're using, irrespective of it being the highest SKU also, Microsoft 365 Copilot is not included in it. It's always an add-on, which means this is something that you need to purchase separately on top of the base license, right? I want to make sure that everybody understands that clearly, because a lot of time businesses or customers tend to think that I have the Microsoft 365 E5, so maybe I'm entitled to get Microsoft 365 Copilot, right? But sorry, that's not the way it is. It's always an add-on license that you need to purchase separately. Now, these are the different plans that are currently available, right? So there is always the Microsoft 365 Copilot chat free, which means the Microsoft 365 free version, right? Now, what do I mean by the free version? It is you using the service. Like that is, for instance, today, if you go to Copilot chat, let me just quickly share my screen and show you what I'm talking about, right? So that you can make sense out of this thing. So if I'm going here, right? So I'm logged into my tenant, right? So this is me. And if I go to copilot.microsoft.com, okay, you see two options here. One is it's asking me, hey, do you want to sign in with your work account, or do you want me to sign in with your personal account, right? So that is the personal account. Think of it as your ChatGPT, OpenAI's ChatGPT, right? You can use this with your Hotmail account, and you can use this for all your personal stuff. This is the consumer version of it, right? This is free, and that is also a paid version for this. We do not want to get into that, right? If at all you're more interested, you can go do your research about it, right? And if it also gives me an option about, hey, do you want to log in with your work account? I'm going to log in with my work account here. And if you look at this, it gives me an interface, right? I can go ahead and start asking questions, and it's going to give me all the answers, right? For instance, what does uh, LLM stand for? Or I'm just asking some random questions, right? And you could clearly see all these results coming in from internet, right? This means even though I'm logged into my tenant, I'm a Microsoft 365 licensed user. I have an E5 license. which means I'm entitled to use Copilot for Microsoft.com, which means I'm entitled to use Microsoft 365 Copilot. But then the results are always going to come from internet only. So the point that I'm trying to make is with your E3 or E5, you get an element of Microsoft 365 Copilot, but the results vary. You won't get the results from your work as well as from your internet. Okay, so you won't be able to see an option which says work as well as web. So here, let me go ahead and ask Vijay to share his screen. Now, Vijay has a license. He has a license given to him. Let's see what's Vijay's experience when he's trying to go to chat.copilot.microsoft.com. So Vijay, you want to share your screen?
Yeah, are you able to see my screen?
1 minute. Yes.
Okay, yeah. So you can see here, I could see these options, work and web. By default, work is
Yep.
selected because I got a Copilot license. And when I search for something, can you summarize SharePoint migration strategy and planning? It's going to return me the results. Again, it is based on the content that is available in the tenant for which I got access to. So this is coming from the loop document, meeting notes, and so you can see the link over here. So this is coming from the loop document itself, and you can see the sensitivity label is also applied to it. So it's basically narrating the sensitivity label and the based on the permissions that I got to the enterprise data. Yeah.
Thanks, Vijay. So yeah, so that's basically one thing which I want you all to, be very clear about, because most of the time people think that, hey, if I'm not having a Copilot license, maybe I cannot use Microsoft. You can. It's just that it, the results is not coming from where exactly you expect it to come from, right? It's not coming from your work content. You're only getting the web results. It's as good as using the consumer version of Microsoft 365. But then there is a lot to it. I shouldn't be saying the consumer version, because if you look at this, right, when you look at Copilot Chat free, you get, it's a free version, secured AI, access and use agents. It's maintain IT control, including, so this is just the bare minimum that you get, right? But whereas when you're using the paid version, all your results are going to come from your organization data. You can see that you can access Copilot in apps such as Teams, Outlook, PowerPoint. We're talking about the add-in. We'll talk more about the agents and other things. It also has enterprise grade security, privacy, and compliance controls. This is possible only when you have the paid version of Microsoft 365 Copilot. So please be clear on that. Now let me get back to the session. Okay, moving on. Now, this is also the third additional option which Microsoft has recently introduced. We spoke about the free version, and then we also spoke about the paid version, right? The free version, as I said, it's just free, but the paid version is something where you get all the goodness of your data coming from your repositories, all the security compliance and other stuff that you get. That is also the third option called pay as you go, right? As the name itself says, it is exactly similar to how your Azure subscription works these days. So if you're interested on a pay as you go model, this is an option given to you. So what this means is it's more of a metered option, right? You can maybe your users, you can just sort of set how you want to be built based on the usage, right? If at all you as an org feel that you want to get started with this journey, but then you're not interested in paying $30 per user per month. And by the way, the $30 per user per month is the sticker price. Maybe when you're working with your, whatever licensing partner you have, right, you would get a discount price. That's a different story altogether, right? But there is also an option called as pay as you go, which is more of a metered thing. You need to set up an Azure subscription for this. It happens similar, exactly the way how the Azure subscription works. We won't be able to talk in detail about this because we ourselves haven't set it up. We haven't got our hands dirty with the pay as you go model. So if you're somebody who's interested on this, I would highly recommend that go ahead, invest more time on this and try to see if at all this is the route that you want to go. If you're somebody who's thinking to start off your journey with Microsoft 365 Copilot, but you're not really sure about whether you want to, get into a long-term commitment, then this is something that I would advise, because here you can set up the limits uh, based on the user's usage. You would only be billed. You won't be billed. I mean, there is no $30 per user per month, right? You're only going to pay for what you use. Okay, now talking about, now we spoke about what are the three flavors of license that you need, that you have for Microsoft 365 Copilot. Now let's talk about the base license, right? What is the prerequisite? What are the different plans? What are the different Microsoft 365 plans that I am supposed to have beforehand so that I can go ahead and top up Microsoft 365 Copilot on top of it, right? Because if at all I remember when this product, some, let's say 2 years, around 2 years, it's been about 2 years since Microsoft 365 Copilot came out, right? So back then Microsoft said only if at all you have E5, you can go ahead and purchase Microsoft 365 Copilot as an add-on. That's like 2 years back. And then 6 months from then, they said, you know what, we are opening this to even Microsoft 365 E3 customers. So even if at all you have E3, you can go ahead and purchase Microsoft 365 Copilot as an add-on by spending $30 per user per month. But today, that's not the case. So Microsoft has made sure that no matter, as long as you're using any of these plans, you can go ahead and top it up, or you can purchase a Microsoft 365 Copilot on top of this. So these are all the different Microsoft 365 plans. And if at all you're having Teams plan, the Teams Essentials or something, right? And if at all you're having OneDrive, because you got to think in an organization or in an enterprise, not everybody is going to be given an E3 or an E5 or an E1 for that matter, right? That is going to be mix of licenses based on the user persona, right? If you ask me, it doesn't make any sense to give a frontline worker an E1 or an E3 or an E5. They're simply not going to make use of it, right? So in such cases, you would see people, you would see organizations giving them an F1 license or an F3 license, right? So back in the past, you couldn't give Copilot to those users simply because the base licensing criteria didn't match. But now that's not the case. As long as you're using any of these licenses, you can add on Microsoft 365 Copilot on top of this. And if at all you're using education, maybe you're a education customer or you're supporting an education customer, you are not left behind. Even as long as you're using any of these plans, you can top up Microsoft 365 Copilot, meaning you can purchase Microsoft 365 Copilot as an add-on. So please be very clear about this. And this is coming from official Microsoft documentation. And these things keep changing. Maybe today this is what it is, and tomorrow they can be adding more. So this is the information as of today. Maybe a few months from now, it would have changed. Maybe there are few more plans which Microsoft has added. Now this is the very experience which I was showing you, right? So with the Microsoft 365 Copilot chat, we just showed you this experience, right? You have the web-based chat when you're having the free version and you are getting all the results from the web. But if at all you have the Copilot license, you get both options. You get the web as well as the work, and you can switch. You can toggle between, and you can say, hey, for this uh, query which I'm giving in, or rather for this prompt which I'm giving in, right? I want the results to come from my work based, or maybe I want the result to come from both web and work, or whatever, however you want the results to show up, right? You can go ahead and toggle. And it says show results that are Microsoft Entra connected is available with the Microsoft Copilot license. And the web-based, as I said, it's free. It's part of your Microsoft 365 subscription. Now, what else do I get to do, right? Is it just results? Is that all I get to do if I'm having a free version? And should I have a paid version for everything else? Well, that's not the case. If you look at this, this is sort of a detailed comparison chart. If you look at Microsoft 365 Copilot chat, this is the free, and then the Microsoft 365 Copilot, which is the paid version, right? So this is all, wherever you see the radio buttons, this is all possible. So until here, for instance, the chat, you get the web grounded chat. So the work grounded work data in your tenant is available via connectors. You see this. This is not available for the free, and this is available for the paid version. So Copilot pages is there. File uploading is possible. Code interpreter, so image generation. So you get a decent amount of uh, features with the free version also. If at all you're an organization who's not ready to spend for the paid version, at least you get to do all these certain things. But of course, there is a metered option here, which I encourage you to go ahead and deep dive and read into it. But this is a very high level comparison for you to understand what is it I can do with the paid and what is it I can do with the free version. Moving on. And in terms of assigning the Microsoft 365 Copilot licenses, this is similar to any other Microsoft 365 service, right? You can assign it from the admin center, or if at all you want to do group-based licensing, you can do this, or if at all you're doing it through PowerShell. So whatever works for you, right? This is, I mean, every organization traditionally has been managing their Microsoft 365 licenses uh, in a way which is comfortable to them. Some do group-based licensing, some do, using it PowerShell. So just bear in mind that Microsoft 365 Copilot is no different, right? So you can go ahead and follow the same approach and you're good to go. Now that we have spoken about the base licensing, right? What is what for Microsoft 365 Copilot, let's talk about the licensing options for you to secure and govern Microsoft 365 Copilot, right? So as I said, the last two sessions we focused heavily on this topic. So today we want to talk more about what are the licensing options, if at all you're interested to secure and govern this. So there are two pieces which we want to talk about. So one is the SharePoint Advanced Management and also the Microsoft Purview Futures, right? And we are going to talk about Microsoft 365 E3 plus Microsoft 365 Copilot license and Microsoft 365 E5 plus Microsoft 365 Copilot license. Because as per Microsoft, with E3, you get to do a lot in terms of securing and governing with Microsoft, and also the same goes with E5 because with E5 you get to do a lot more. So what you need to understand first and foremost is recently, so beginning of early 2025, with your Microsoft 365 Copilot, you also get the SharePoint Advanced Management SAM component. Okay, this was not the case before. SharePoint Advanced Management was always an add-on product. A lot of SharePoint customers would purchase this because it makes uh, you know data governance, security, and a lot of other things easy for customers who are heavily invested on SharePoint, right? Now it all makes sense because a lot of your data in Microsoft 365 is in some or other form going to be sitting inside SharePoint, right? Because SharePoint is the underlying repository behind everything. You talk about Teams, you talk about, of course, SharePoint in itself, and pretty much all your data is going to be sitting inside SharePoint only, right? So SharePoint Advanced Management is something that you get along with Microsoft 365 Copilot license in itself. You don't need to purchase that separately. Starting from 2025, you get it. And of course, with E5 also, you're going to get the SharePoint. It's not an E5 thing, I'm sorry. With Microsoft 365 Copilot license, you would get the SAM also. So just to be very clear, the Microsoft 365 Copilot license is going to give you the SharePoint Advanced Management. So here also. Now, let's talk about the Microsoft Purview components, right? With your E3, you're going to get an option to create custom labels. I'm talking about sensitivity labels, and you can also manually apply the labels. So once you publish the labels and when users are creating the documents, they can go ahead and apply a label. It could be highly sensitive or public or whatever, right? Whatever labels you have published for your organization. And if you look at E5, you can manually also apply your labels, and you can also, there is a concept of auto labeling also, right? This is the goodness you get with E5 because you can create things in such a way that based on certain keywords, based on certain conditions, based on certain parameters, automatically a label will be slapped on top of the document, right? Which makes security even more good. And in the previous session, we have demoed this. But please bear in mind that with E5, you would get the automatic labeling thing. Now let's move on. In terms of DLP, with E3, you can target your DLP to SharePoint online sites, the data which is kept in SharePoint, and then uh, to the mails as well as data which is kept on OneDrive. But if at all you're an E5 customer, you get all this. It's just not SharePoint Exchange and OneDrive, also Team and your endpoints also. I'm talking about the endpoint DLP. Right now, why would somebody be worried about endpoint with Microsoft 365 E5, right? Because think about this, right? Because you're using, if at all you want to uh, control how users are using Microsoft 365 Copilot in their endpoints, or if at all you want to uh, sort of have control there, wherein you're saying that users should be able to use Microsoft 365 Copilot only in their corporate devices. You do not want them to use it elsewhere, right? So all this kind of things can be tweaked and controlled using the DLP. Adaptive protection is also something which is not available on E3, but E5 gives it. A lot of these things which I'm talking about, if you're somebody who has a good experience on Microsoft Purview, if you have spent a good amount of time there, a lot of these things would make sense. If not, I would highly urge you to go ahead and understand more about Microsoft Purview so that whatever I'm saying would make sense to you. In terms of data lifecycle management, uh, with your E3, you can create retention policies, you can manually apply retention labels and use Content Explorer. But when it comes to here, it is just not about you doing things manually. With E5, you can go ahead and automatically apply retention labels also. So whatever I'm saying here, I want you to think it through the context of Microsoft 365 Copilot also, right? So think from that standpoint. And with your E3, you also get to do the communication. I'm sorry, with E3, you do not get to do the communication compliance. And with your E5, you get the communication compliance. When I say communication compliance, it's more around how people are using, what kind of interactions is happening, right? What kind of Microsoft 360. Sorry, that's my Alexa. Uh, so all those things can be done using your Microsoft with the communication compliance, which is a part of your Microsoft purview, right? How users are using it, what kind of interactions, what kind of wordings they are using it, what do you want to control? When the name itself says it's communication compliance, right? And then e-discovery, of course, no matter whatever you're doing in any organization, e-discovery is needed, right? If with your E3, you can only search. You can sort of create a search and then you can do an e-discovery. But maybe when you're doing it with E5, you can also do search and delete, and there is a lot more that you can do with your e-discovery when you have an E5 license. Data security, posture management for AI. So these are the things that you can do. And here you can also do view prompt and responses. So everything which I'm showing under Microsoft Purview, all these has been demoed in our previous session. So please take a look at it. And then you would know how to deploy this and how to make use of this in your tenant. With respect to SharePoint Advanced Management, so no matter whether you're a E3 or E5 customer, because SharePoint Advanced Management is a component of Microsoft 365 Copilot, right? So that's not going to be a huge difference here. So this is all that you get to do with your SharePoint Advanced Management. So with that, let me hand it over to Vijay. So Vijay, over to you to talk about readiness and adoption.
Sure. Thank you. I'll quickly share my screen. Are you able to see my screen?
Yeah.
So just give me 1 minute. Yeah. Thank you, Vignesh, for. Are you able to see my screen?
Yeah. Yeah, I can.
Okay. Okay, 1 minute. Yeah. So thank you, Vignesh, for providing the quick overview about the licensing part and the different options that are available. So the next one that we are going to see is readiness and adoption. Okay, so readiness, regarding the readiness, we have seen in the previous sessions, like how you can prepare your organization for Microsoft 365 Copilot. We showcase the various features or capabilities or tools that are available within the SharePoint Advanced Management and Purview features. And now we are going to focus on the adoption. And like it's like again to set the right expectation, we are not going to deep dive into each and everything as part of the adoption. But whereas because that itself is a separate topic and huge topic. So what we are going to do is I'm just going to give you the overview about the resources, tools, or features or capabilities that are available that will help your organization to drive the adoption. Okay, so so Microsoft has introduced something called Microsoft 365 Copilot Adoption Playbook, and this playbook consists of the step-by-step instructions or like a implementation guide for especially for the business leaders or the administrators or the administrators to drive the Copilot adoption. Okay, it basically what it does is it provides the different actionable steps that help you to measure your usage, engagement, or like track the progress or the impact and everything. And also it helps you to answer some of the questions like who should I provide license to, or what are the ways to measure the impact, or when I will start seeing the business results. And like that it answers, this playbook will answer you all of the critical questions like this. Okay, and this one, if you see the adoption roadmap, it consists of different phases, like phase one, phase two, up to four phases. So get ready, onboard and engage, deliver impact, and extend and optimize. So these are the four different phases as part of the adoption roadmap. So we are not going to deep dive into each and everything, but I like we'll have the overview of different steps as part of each phase. Okay, and I'll also show you like from where you can access this playbook, and which will have more details about each and every step, and also the tools that are available for that one. Okay, so if you see the first phase, get ready, which helps you to prepare your organization or business for the Microsoft 365 Copilot, and it consists of various steps. Let's start with the step one, like a review and review your security and data settings. So this one we have seen in the previous sessions, various settings or features or capabilities, what we can do for data oversharing or data leakage and other stuff. So that would be our first step. And the next one would be like assignments, right? A license assignments or seat assignments of Copilot license assignments, right? So, in order for you to maximize the business impact, we need to determine the licensing deployment strategy, right? So, what Microsoft recommend is like a go by phase approach, or based on each business unit. So, in order for that, track your usage trends, current usage trends, and like see define the use cases for your different business units, and then provide the licenses for that specific business unit, and like do by phase, right? And you can make use of certain tools that we will be seeing later, like how you can how that will help you, those tools or features will help you to decide whom we need to assign licenses or who are eligible for licenses and all those things. And the next one is AI Council, creating an AI Council. This is mainly to oversee and guide us through the entire development, deployment, or also to evaluate the AI solutions. So we can create an AI Council for those purpose. And also the next one is help people build new work habits. What does it mean? Is like change management is critical when you want to implement these AI solutions, especially that Microsoft 365 Copilot. The reason is it's not about the new technology, it's about the new way of working. So change management plays a critical role over here. So these are the different steps that will help you to prepare your organization or get ready for the AI or Microsoft 365 Copilot. So the next phase is the onboard and engage, where it will help you to accelerate the usage and engagement. So if you see, there are different steps involved here. So first one is like a user community. So create a user community. Like you can make use of Teams, you can make use of Viva Engage or Microsoft Forms, or different ways like where users can go and learn things, right? Or share like a peer learning, where they can learn from others, or like you can showcase what you have implemented with the Copilot, like a knowledge sharing sessions. There are various ways to do that so that like they learn, right? So the user community plays a important role here. And the next one is like identifying the champions to lead the way by example. They can provide the benefits of the Copilot, what features are available. They can share the best practices and all those things. So we can identify, or we can have some champions. And the next one is like ongoing training. Again, even though when the employees get the productivity gains immediately. It usually takes like at least 6 months to personally evolve to use the Copilot, how you want to use the Copilot on a regular basis, right? So again, like ongoing training will it's required to optimize this particular journey. And also like business leaders or the champions or the administrators, they need to share resources via like again like a by announcements or by emails or something like that, so that they can make use of that. So just for an example, right, prompt engineering is critical, very important. When you want to have the proper output, you need to have the proper input for that. So prompt engineering is well critical. So for that, we can make use of the tools or resources that are available. Like for example, Copilot Lab, where there are a lot of the prompts are available, prompt templates are available, which you can utilize for the better prompting, and then so that it will help you to get the output. So it's just not like it's an ongoing process. It's just not like you started using it and everything is going to change. So it's an ongoing process, right? And the next one is like how you can track. So okay, okay, like it's been deployed. So now how you can track the progress. So like what, how would you measure the impact, right, or the business results? So there are again various steps involved, and again like we are just talking about the steps here. Again, it's all these things can be done with the help of tools and different resources that are available, which we will be seeing in the upcoming slide. Okay. So here, when you see that phase three, which is a delivery impact, so how would you quantify the impact with the Microsoft Copilot dashboard, right? So Copilot dashboard provides the metrics, the real-time data, and the insights that help you to measure the usage, the impact, and the like what business value it brings, and all those things, right? So it helps you to identify the how Copilot is adding value to your business, and also where enablement strategies can be created to improve your business benefits, right? And the next one is like meeting with your AI counsel regularly. So just like have a regular meetings so that you can see what went well. So as I mentioned earlier, it is a continuous process, right? So what is working well? What are the potential challenges that we are facing, or potential areas of opportunities? So talk about that and see how that it can be improved, right? And like publicly celebrate success. So like various teams are involved on this particular thing, like implementing the solutions, adoption, and the usage. So multiple teams are involved. So like pass and celebrate every milestone over here. Okay. And the last phase would be how you can automate the your current business process by implementing the agents. So basically, how you can extend and optimize, just not like using the Microsoft 365 Copilot chat, or like making chat alone, right? How you can automate your business process, or the problems or challenges that you are having on a daily basis with the help of by extending or creating the agents, right? So tailor your Copilot your business and optimize with the role-based agents. So Microsoft is like developing and releasing lot of role-based agents, which is basically specialized or tailored to a specific task and functions, right? So currently, like there are three agents like that publicly available. So Microsoft 365 Copilot for surveys, for sales, for finance, which is specialized or which is tailored for the specific task related to sales, or related to finance, or related to the service, right? So you can make use of that instead of developing or implementing the agent from the scratch. You can make use of that and you can extend that one. Okay. So going to the next one. So how, like we have seen this, all these different phases as part of the Copilot roadmap, right? And we've seen that various steps that are involved. So how you can accelerate that, that journey, right? So that's what Microsoft provides, certain tools across all these phases. Like for example, if you take Copilot dashboard, it can be used across all the different phases, right? To accelerate this particular AI transformation. Okay, and again, there are different capabilities available, and which comes as part of Microsoft 365 Copilot license itself. And there are additional features or capabilities or tools available when you purchase, or the premium features available when you go with the Viva license. Okay, so if you have only the Microsoft 365 Copilot license, you can make use of Copilot dashboard across all the different phases. For example, to start with the get ready, you can use the dashboard for preparing for the rollout, and you can understand, it helps you to understand the usage and adoption, and also it helps you to measure the Copilot impact, and also you can develop some employee app to connect your workforce to the information, resources, and tasks. So this comes with the M365 Copilot license. And if you have Viva license, you get premium features. So and also see, you can see the different features or capabilities for each phase. Like for example, when you come to the get ready phase, so you have a templatized survey tools to get feedback and identify the obstacles. You can create and target goals. And if you come to onboard and engage, there are iterative communication campaigns on the Copilot launch and use cases. So for each phase, there are additional premium features when you buy the Viva license. Okay, so by this way, you can accelerate your Copilot rollout with the help of these tools. And again, based on what license that you have it, you can utilize the respective tools. Okay. I'll just go back to the Microsoft documentation. Basically, you can go to this particular adoption playbook, what I mentioned earlier. So as we seen, there are different phases. So you can go through each and every phase and see all the steps in detail, what we can do and everything. And also, apart from that, you have also this adoption page. If you select the Microsoft 365 Copilot, you can see the tools that are available for you and the different resources. And again, based on the roles you have, like for example, leadership roles, for each and every phase, there are different resources available. You can download it, you can go through that. So for example, like leadership, user enablement. So you can see there are different things available, and also for the technical readiness, right? So also the tools available. So interactive scenario library, success toolkit. So scenario library, you will have a lot of scenarios based on your domains, like for finance, for sales and everything. So you can go and see how it has been implemented and all those things. And you can always make use of all these resources as part of your journey. Okay, so I'll go back. So as we've seen that, Copilot dashboard is something tool available as part of 365 365 license, Copilot license, and again, it is helpful across all the different phases of your rollout, right? Like starting from readiness, adoption, impact, and learning. It provides the metrics, real-time data, and insights that help you in all the different phases. So it comes as part of the 365 Copilot license. So it helps you to roll out. It helps prepare for your rollout and understand the drive and the usage, assure, adoption, measure the impact, and also as part of the learnings, you can have the research and best practices, resources that are available. Yeah. So these are the different tabs that are available. Readiness tab. Sorry, readiness tab, and then adoption tab, impact, and the learning tabs, and under which different metrics and data is available. Okay. So you can make use of these tools for your adoption journey, and you can drive your adoption thing. Okay. And the next one that we are going to see, which is available, the usage part, like how you can measure, how you can see different reports for the Microsoft 365 Copilot, right? So it is available in the admin center. So I'll go directly to the admin center. It is available as part of the usage reports. And under the usage, if you go through the Microsoft 365 Copilot, you can go to the Copilot thing. right? So again, here you can see different tabs available: readiness, usage, and agents. So you can see here like who are eligible for Copilot, who are the users eligible for Copilot licenses, and how many licenses are available, and like for how many people the licenses have been assigned. And also a recommendation, you can go for the to deliver insights to your leader, business leader. You can make use of the Copilot dashboard. And also, like, you can see active users of M365 apps, so it helps you for your like a preparedness or to get a readiness part. Okay, so how many users are actively using which app and all those things, and also the readiness details over here. And if you go to the usage part, so you can see different dashboards over here. So you can see how many users are enabled, active users, and how much percentage active users rate, and also adoptions by adoption. You can drill down by the app also, like a 365 PowerPoint, Word, Edge, and all those things. And also chat adoption, agents adoption. So you got lot of information like which helps you to understand how much the Copilot has been used. And this is especially for the agents part. We don't I don't have agents in my tenant, so it doesn't show much. But that's how you can get a lot of reports going to the admin center for the Microsoft 365 Copilot. Okay, so yeah, that's it from my side. Any questions? Or
Yes,
Vignesh, do you want
so
to add anything? Yeah.
I think that's about it. We wanted to touch on the licensing and adoption piece, and we just want to keep it short and simple. So, folks, if at all you have any questions, now would be the time to unmute, or if you want to ask it in the chat, also feel free to do that. Thank you.